Hey, Woken Free Nation. Newsly is an audio app for iOS and Android. It picks up web articles about the most trending topics on the web at any given moment and reads them to you in a natural human voice.
For the first time in the history of the internet, the entire web becomes listenable. Browse articles from topics you choose and start playing. Stop scrolling, start listening.
You can follow any topic as specific as you like, from sports, science to Bitcoin, or even one of your favorite celebrities. It will find you the latest articles and read them to you aloud.
And they have podcasts as well. Explore trending podcasts from over 50 countries. Our podcast, Woken Free, is there too.
Now let's get into the episode. Hi, it's Natasha.
And Khalil.
And we are the co-hosts of
Woken Free.
Thank you for tuning in to our 260th episode of Woken Free. Khalil, can you believe it? 260.
I believe it. I don't know if you do.
Every single ounce of it, yes.
Oh, all right.
Amazing. So, if everyone has been tuning in every week for Woken Free Wednesday, which we know you do, you know that Woken Free is all about being real and honest with each other and you. We talk about everything and anything important to us, you, the world, and nothing is off the table. This week, we are having a really interesting discussion around 10 products by Black inventors you didn't know about. So before we dive deep into the subject, a couple of things to cover. Have you downloaded this episode on wokenfree.com through the Podbean app? If you haven't, please do so immediately, because if you download the episode through the app, then you can put your comments in and you can share your thoughts and you can tell us which of these inventors that you did know about, or are all 10 completely brand spanking new to you as well. Now, if you listen to podcasts on a device where you cannot download any more apps onto it for whatever the reason, go to wokenfree.com, go on the listen tab, and then pick your platform of choice where you're going to listen, you're going to follow, subscribe to the show at. So we're on iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Pandora. It's a Woken Free world. Again, wokenfree.com, go on the listen tab. On wokenfree.com, you can also, at the top, click subscribe to follow the show through the Podbean app. And on social, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Woken Free. And of course, if you have 90 seconds, which was really more of a statement than a question, we'd love a review. So go on wokenfree.com, go on the listen tab, review the show on any of the platforms that you would like to, that tickle your fancy. And with that, I'm going to kick it to you, Khalil.
All right. Let's tickle the conversation then by sharing a little bit about ourselves.
Creepy. Sure. Okay.
This week we're asking, would you rather go on an archaeological dig and find a fossil, or go gold mining and find some gold?
Oh, that's actually a really interesting question. So my Jurassic Park heart would definitely go towards the archaeological dig. I think as a child, I at one point was like, I want to be an archaeologist, and then was told that involved dirt and bugs. And so I'm not so opposed to the dirt, but the bugs bit that's still a contention point for me. So,
Smart.
But the gold thing makes me feel like, is it ethical? Like, I don't know. It just seems so, like, because, like, or maybe I'm thinking of diamonds too.
Yeah,
but, like,
diamonds is the harder
I don't know. I still, a part of me, like, in another life hopes that I can still be an archaeologist. So that's my answer. How about you?
Wow. Me, I'd definitely go for gold.
Okay.
Because, I mean, there's money to be had there. And
fantastic.
Gold is a precious metal.
You have no soul, so that makes sense.
No, it's not about soul. Gold is a precious metal. It's the most important metal ever.
So you're going to praise it as a god? I mean,
I'm going to become gold, right? If I mine enough of it.
Amazing.
I can cover myself in it. Goldfinger?
An X-Men that can turn into silver or gold or something?
I mean, that's Colossus. He just puts metal plating over him. That's a lot different than...
So he's not precious gold?
No, it's not a precious metal that he's using. So gold
something more wacky, yes, you're saying.
Some people believe gold has powers, too. Like, they wear it and it can protect you from spirits and stuff. So that's all I'm going to say there. Some people believe in that kind of stuff.
I have no words for that.
Okay, because people believe there's a lot of power depending on certain things you wear. And what's funny is that you can actually invent things with gold, too, right? You can take the gold and make some sort of invention out of it.
Yeah.
So, speaking of that, what do you think about this episode?
God, you're hilarious. So you mean to ask me?
What do you think about this episode?
What you're trying to say, Willis, is why is it important to know first and foremost about Black inventors, right?
And not about the gold inventions that can come from it.
Indeed, if that's
actually
a part
gold
of it,
is used in a lot of technology, so that's good to know too.
Well, why do you think it's important to know about Black inventors?
Well, I just think it's important in general because we don't see enough Black content that's positive. We usually see the struggles of Blacks and how they're mistreated and how they're just abused and
also
that kind
Black
of stuff.
Corruption, right? We see a
and
lot
we see
of
corruption.
that,
Yeah, we see it
which happens in every single community on every single planet.
I just feel
and landmass.
I feel that there's a plethora of negative Black material out there. Like if you look at our media content and our best performing movies, usually have a negative tone to it. So that's why I think it's good to just talk about Black inventors and probably do content around them too, to be honest.
Love it.
There should be movies around them and stuff. That'd be nice.
Well, don't share too much.
Well, I'm not going to say who gets the movie, right? So that's the cool thing.
True that.
I think it's good too because sometimes you don't even know who really invented something. Sometimes it's a Black person that invented this thing.
Exactly.
And people all along thought it was just someone else. So I think we got to give credit where credit is due. And the next thing is, I just think we need to celebrate Black excellence because that doesn't happen often, right?
Snap, yes.
We don't really talk about that. Well, with Black History Month,
absolutely.
That's not enough. I think you need to just do that year round to celebrate Black excellence.
Love that.
And especially these Black inventors are not entertainers either, right? This is they're straight up inventors. They're making stuff that everyday people use. It's not like you got to consume the content. You just live and you use these Black inventions, so it's important to know about them.
I love it. Yeah, my answers are very much in line with yours. It's important to know your history. I would say one of my deepest regret is growing up in New York and city as a young Black child and not really fully understanding the contextualness of what it means to be a Black person, what it means to be a Black woman in this country. And so I feel like I'll be playing catch up for the rest of my life and also trying to set the stage so our son has a very strong Black identity and is very proud of the fact that he's a part of multiple communities within the African American and Caribbean space. So know your history. Second, to be woke and free means to educate yourself. You are on a journey actively and intentionally to learn, to actualize, and to grow. So that's a part of this whole show, this whole platform. So there's that. And then, of course, it's super comforting to know that you're a part of a community that has accomplished such greatness. I mean, hello, creator of mankind. So, right, like, we are the original man. We derive from that. And it's just so, I feel like it's like invigorating. It like juices you up to be like, so if they can do it, then why can't I do X? So there's like no excuse. And it's like a good, like, kick in the butt that sometimes you may need to like move forward with a goal or whatnot. And then it's also inspirational because there are things you and I have a plethora of things that we've talked about of possibly wanting to invent. And so this is just, I think, a really good episode just even for us to talk about, to understand what historically has been done by our community and set us up for future success.
True. Those are good ones.
Absolutely. So since we're talking about 10 products made by Black inventors that you didn't know about, we'll split it 5 and 5. So I'll share my first 5 and, obviously Khalil chime in, tell me what you think and know about any of these. But the first one that I thought that was really, really cool is the home security system co-invented by Mary Van Britten Brown in 1966. You probably are already aware of that one, right?
No, I don't know who that is.
Oh,
Mary Van Britten is the African American?
Yep. Before
okay.
security systems, and this is shared from history.com, so before security systems became a fixture in homes, African American nurse Mary Van Britten Brown devised an early security unit for her own home. She spent many nights at home alone in Queens, New York, which I thought you'd really enjoy, while her husband was away and felt unsafe with high rates of crime in her neighborhood. On top of that, police were unreliable and unresponsive, go figure, and she created a device that would help put her mind at ease. In 1966, she invented a system that used a camera that could slide into and look through 4 peepholes in her front door. The camera's view would then appear on a monitor in her home so she could survey any potentially unwanted guests. She added other features to the system, including a microphone to speak to anyone at the door, a button to unlock the door, and a button to contact the police. She and her husband took out a patent for the system in the same year, and they were awarded the patent 3 years later in 1969. The home security systems commonly used today took various elements from her design. Isn't
like
that incredible?
Old school Ring device, right? Before we had the internet.
Isn't that incredible? All the way back in 1969, they got the patent, and she created it in 1966. That's crazy.
That's an interesting thing. Yeah, I didn't know.
I was like, what? I totally thought you knew that.
A black female did that.
Black
Nobody
female nurse in Queens, New York. Big up. Thank you very much. Next, there was the refrigerated trucks invented by Frederick McKinley Jones in 1940. Are you aware of him?
I've never heard of him.
Okay, so this, detailed as, if your refrigerator has any produce from your local grocery store, then you can credit that to African-American inventor Frederick McKinley Jones. Jones took out more than 60 patents throughout his life, including a patent for the roof-mounted cooling system that's used to refrigerate goods on trucks during extended transportation in the mid-1930s. He received a patent for his invention in 1940 and co-founded the U.S. Thermo Control Company, later known as Thermo King. The company was critical during World War II, helping to preserve blood, food, and supplies during the war. Incredible.
Well, I heard of the company, so okay. That makes sense.
I was like, did not know that one. Next, automatic elevator doors. This is shared on dailyhive.com. Alexander Mills took out a patent in 1887 for a mechanism that automatically opens and closes elevator shaft doors. His designs are largely reflected in elevators used today.
Wow.
So all the way from 1887. It's incredible.
Yeah, you're going to need that.
Incredible. And then the tissue holder by Mary Davidson invented both the tissue holder while disabled from multiple sclerosis, which is incredible.
The tissue holder, are we talking about like, what is a tissue holder? Is it just a box of tissues?
It's the holder for the tissues, yeah.
So it's when you have, if you have a box of tissues and you put it in another box, that's the tissue holder?
Oh, interesting.
I wonder what that is, to be honest. I'm just not even sure. What does it look like?
Let's see.
If we can describe it at least.
You know what we can do? We can make sure to include a link and a picture of it. So that's a great call out. So we'll do that so that folks can see what her invention is. If I can find any information.
Because, I wonder if it's just like how you place the tissue inside of a box. Because, they make it so that when you pull it, there's a next one ready. So did she invent that? Or that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
what's the device actually?
Could share more in the the episode down. So if you two are curious, make sure you go to wokenfree.com to check that out. And then my last one that I found was shared on oprahdaily.com, which is the IBM's original personal computer, and the PC color monitor was created by Mark Dean, born 1957. He earned a doctorate at Stanford University and is the co-inventor of the IBM's original personal computer and the PC color monitor, literally changing how we all interact with the internet and the technology that enables printers, keyboards, and mice to communicate with your computer. So, and that was done also by Mark Dean. Insane.
So, wow, he was working on the original PC. Okay, and
never
color
heard of
monitor.
that. Never in my life heard
I
of
think
that.
I've heard of Mark Dean. I didn't realize exactly what he did, but all right. So he helped on getting that piece, which is a crazy uptaking. I mean, that's nuts that he had a hand in that.
FYI, if anyone's like, oh, is it only 5 or 10 that we've done? Like, if you look into history, there's a lot of inventions that have been made by Black people. So please just note that this episode only addresses 10 that we thought were cool, so we curated this, but there's plenty more to come from our community. Okay, so I'm excited to hear your 5 now.
Because I'm just wondering if my 5 aren't, like, yours are good in terms of most people probably didn't even know those ones. Mine, I picked some that I just hope people know, because I mean,
it's probably new to me, so I'm excited.
That's what, it'll give me a barometer before the listeners let us know if they've heard of these people, because to me, some of them you should have heard of, but we'll see.
You're now listening to Woken Free.
Woken Free.
Woken Free.
Woken Free.
A podcast that keeps it real and keeps it honest.
The first one is Lonnie Johnson, and he was born October 6, 1949. So he's an engineer that invented the Super Soaker, But what's crazy about it, he patented that in 1986.
Big up, everything.
He knew the time to do it, and I remember using that years later and being amazed by the power of the Super Soaker.
I still don't think I've ever used a Super Soaker.
Yeah, because it's a crazy system. You can pressurize the water and spray it out this little plastic contraption.
Cool. Okay.
Like it was this guy. He really revolutionized like play fights for kids, and then Charles Drew. The next one. He was a doctor and medical researcher who invented a means of separating plasma from whole blood, allowing it to be stored up to a week for longer than had been possible at the time.
I think we talked about him before, so hopefully if people missed the previous episode,
just in case you didn't know. I mean, I don't know if
in case you missed it.
And I don't know if we mentioned a specific invention either, because he's done other stuff. I just mentioned this one thing.
I think the blood transplant, plasma transplant, I think was the reference before that we've done before, yeah.
All right, so as long as people know that it's Charles Drew.
Remember Charles Drew. Okay.
Thomas L. Jennings is the next one. He's the first Black American to be granted a patent just in general.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's the very first. And he applied for it and received a patent in 1821 for a cleaning technique he pioneered called dry scouring. It was a precursor to today's dry cleaning.
Oh, wow.
But he gets that astonishment. So that's the first.
Incredible. Wow.
I guess this is meant for the United States.
Yeah, these are national. Yeah.
Garrett Morgan, he's best known for his invention in 1914 of the safety hood. And that's a precursor to the gas mask, actually.
That's cool. I think I saw that when I was going through it. I
had a feeling that
you would use that because that's creepy, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that
it's
was
amazing,
cool
but
that he created that.
I don't know. The gas mask scares me. Yeah.
But it's a good
super
device.
Super cool invention, yeah.
And the last one that I'll mention is James Edward Maceo West. He's a physicist who invented the foil electret microphone in 1960. These style mics, they were more sensitive than the mics of the time, and they used less power, and they were also smaller. They ended up revolutionizing the field of acoustics, because today those style mics are used in everything from telephones to computers.
That's incredible.
So
this is from 1960.
Yeah, so in 1960 he revolutionized acoustics, and now we're using that technology to today.
I hope everyone listening is both enthusiastically excited about all that learning, as well as just like questioning themselves about like, what are you going to invent, and when you're going to get your patent and change the world and change how we do things. That's so fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Very, very exciting.
So did you know, you knew the one that we mentioned previously?
I knew that.
But the other ones, did they seem new to you? Because even
Garrett Morgan I came across, but James
you saw that,
Edward Maceo West, and Thomas.
But the Lonnie Johnson, you knew.
Lonnie Johnson, because you've mentioned it, only because of you, though. So just also note to self, keep people in your life that celebrate Black history. And so that even if you don't do the research yourself, you can come up in conversation and you continue to have woken free talks.
True. Here we go, yo. So what's the scenario? It's scenario time, guys. Scenario 1. Lynette is interested in starting an exhibition for Black inventors at her local museum. Do you think she should focus on famous inventors or lesser known ones?
Oh, wow. What an interesting question. As a person who loves curating content, really excited to answer this. So I would say a little bit of both personally. I don't think it's or, I think it's and. For me is how I would answer it, because you're going to draw an audience based on people who are about the things that are famous and well known. And then you're also going to draw a separate audience for the lesser known, right? So the emo versus the pop, kind of Korean pop kind of thing, right? Like those are two separate audiences, but both equally important, and both can bring a good amount of following. So I would say to make this exhibition most successful, you would have part of the exhibition space would be for the inventors known, and then also just in case you didn't know. And I would do both. And that way you're not paying homage to just one group. Same thing, like if we're going to do something about Black history, should it absolutely have to include Dr. King? I mean, it could, but it doesn't mean that needs to be to the preclusion of sharing someone who's maybe less known in that time, who also had impact from a civil rights perspective, or ...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for me, I think I would go with the lesser ones in this case.
Okay.
Only because this is a local museum, so I think people... They might already know about some of the people that you're figuring to mention. I think you should try to surprise some of the guests with things that they never would expect. So I would go with the lesser ones in this case. The only way I wouldn't is if maybe if nobody actually goes there, then maybe you want to bring more people in. You can you can do the mix up like you said. But yeah, I like to give the underdog some chances.
Okay,
just give them some shout outs. Scenario 2. Wanwu thinks there is too much emphasis placed on black businesses and would like all references to a specific culture removed from current day media. That includes businesses, inventions, and news. Do you think this is a reasonable request?
No. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, but unfortunately, I actually would have to disagree with that sentiment. To your point earlier, a big reason why it's really hard for me to tune into the news is because it's all this not nonsense, but all this, hysteria around kind of epidemics or, deeply concerning things that are going on in our country and in the community as a whole, but also not enough attention to joy and positivity and business and prosperity. And especially when it comes to black news, definitely I think there could be a much more concerted effort to have more on black business. I couldn't tell you the closest black business to where we live. So this person to me is off their rocket. How about you?
Yeah, I think it's unreasonable because the problem that we have in today's society is it's not about being specifying that the business is black or something. The problem is that white businesses are usually highlighted beyond black businesses. So I think it's good to place emphasis because we don't often hear about it. Like you said in the news, we only hear negativity about them. So
yeah,
I don't think it's reasonable what he's saying. That's not going to work. Scenario 3. Adiria grew up in South Central LA where she did whatever it took to survive. She was not able to finish high school because she needed to work to put food on the table for her siblings. She was talking to her girlfriend who laughed at her when she said she would one day invent something to make it up out of her situation. Do you think it is possible for Adiria to invent something?
What a powerful question. And yes, every single one of us has what it takes to actualize any of the dreams that you have in your heart and your mind. So please don't ever let anyone tell you can't do something just because they can't envision that for themselves. And please don't ever question your ability to do something based on educational attainment or financing or any other type of external reason. You have what it takes to be who you want to be in this world. It's really up to you. So yes, Adira can do whatever she wants to do.
Yeah, the key that I want to point out is that your background doesn't decide what you can do in this life. It doesn't preclude you from doing something. So just because she comes from a hard background, that doesn't mean that she can't invent something. Anybody can do that. That's the thing. It's not that doesn't stop you. The only thing that's stopping you is yourself. So
absolutely,
it is actually possible for her to invent something.
Me to be a minister for today. That's
nice. That's how I am on
Speak on it.
That's my personality, as you can tell from previous episodes. I'm always
as your tone
administrating.
Goes more depressive by the minute. How lovely. Well, with that, it looks like we are at that time again to the coming of the end of our 260th episode of
Woken Free!
Weirdo. This was quite the episode, having a really lively conversation around 10 products by black inventors you didn't know about. We can't wait to hear your thoughts on the episode. Khalil, what do folks need to do now?
They need to come back next week for the new Woken Free Wednesday episode. Make sure you follow us on social media to follow along in the conversation, and make sure you tune in next week for Woken Free Wednesday to join the conversation at wokenfree.com.
If you'd like to be a guest on the show, we're considering topics for 2023. Hit us up on our Contact Us page at wokenfree.com. That's WOKENFREE.com. On social media, you can always find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, and LinkedIn at Woken Free. And all sponsorship and collaboration queries should be sent to us on our Contact Us page at wokenfree.com.
If you didn't already subscribe, please do share the episode and make sure you come back to join the conversation every Wednesday for Woken Free Wednesdays. Remember, Woken Free is more than a podcast, it is a way of life. Until next time.